Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Pine Hills Palace, west of Orlando, Florida, and the Extreme Studios from the Great Midwest. RDV is joining me tonight to continue our almost end of season 3, episode 9 show of Tulsa King with Stallone. And finally, RDV Week at Samuel Jackson. Look, I got to say this. I told you I think this whole season's been a different tone. I kind of like it. But for some reason, it's just all over the place in a way as far as the tone and the momentum building. And I say that because if I just took this one episode, you feel like there's a bunch of episodes before that was just these guys. Because I'll tell you, my favorite Samuel L. Jackson is what I saw tonight, where he's not yelling, he's not screaming, he's not being big and loud and all the stuff that people like to equate him with. He's not a stupid man. He's been around for a very long time acting. I thought this was actually a very good episode, except for the Dunmire stuff at the end. But as far as the acting and the feel of it, loved it. Thought it was great. It was only 40 minutes long, so it felt pretty short to me. But the whole time that Samuel Jackson's on here, I was like, wow, I'm going to definitely want to watch a spinoff show just because of how well this episode went. What's your initial take on this one?
Well, it's funny you talk about this. This had at least about 3 different writers for this episode. So, and I'm always nervous when you have more than one writer, because sometimes they collide, and like you don't know what part they wrote, and sometimes you can tell, like, okay, so maybe the one you don't like who wrote the Dunmire story, maybe that's the weakest link, But
right. It's a good point.
But yeah, I don't like Samuel Jackson. I don't like Nick Fury Samuel Jackson, or the one from Pulp Fiction. Everybody's all into that. I like him when he's calm and collected like this, and he's cool. He doesn't have to worry about things. When he starts yelling, it gets obnoxious. It just kind of steals away anything from whatever he's in. So he basically, like, if he's not the main focus, and all of a sudden he started going that, he's going to take the main focus away from everybody else in the show. And I like that he was kind of more like relaxed, and more like reserved.
Yeah, I agree.
And I like we get a nice little introduction though, and we finally get to understand what his role is going to be in this. We know he's going to spin off. It's going to be called Nola, Nola King. Mm-hmm. Quiet Ray basically hired him to do a hit job on a guy who owed Quiet Ray money in the beginning. Goes in there, poses as an electrical guy, or guy who's going to speak the smoke department and stuff, wire stuff. Because anyway, he gets in there, whacks the guy with a silencer. And then takes the guy's piece of pizza, walks out with it, and goes to the shop, gets a call from White Ray.
A lot of good music in this episode.
Oh yeah,
that really set the tone. That was I think that was an Etta James thing. That's an old standard, kind of that nobody would know. But just him walking around, it made me go, "Fuck Tulsa King! I want to watch this." Seriously, him walking around with the pizza and then going to his place, because he's an electrical guy, and you can see that with the books and everything he has behind him too. That's how he gets into the hotel to whack the dude.
Yeah. So Nola King's definitely Nola King's gonna have a lot more better music. It's gonna be in New Orleans.
I hope so. I mean, I hope you're right.
Anyway, so he's really a famous hitman, and stuff, and he one of the top guys. And obviously, he knows Dwight. We'll get into how he knows Dwight later on, but Quiet Ray wants him to do another job, and he's like, I want you to hit, go after Dwight. And he's like, I ain't gonna go after him. He's like, I'm done. I'm out of this. I did the last job. And he's like, you're done when I say you're done. So he ends up getting on a flight, arrives in Tulsa, walks into the bar, and pretty sits down, has a beer until Dwight comes in, introduces himself. And Dwight immediately recognizes him, who he is. He's like, how about if I put my gun on the table, you put your gun, down too, and they kind of relax and stuff. Have some the bourbon, which actually comes into play with the bourbon. Actually, the bourbon actually has been selling really well. It's he talked to Kevin Polack, pretty much strong-armed him before he came up to Dwight did before he came to the bar, and told him, hey, I got that schmuck. Don't worry about the terrorists. I got his secrets. You're gonna do me a solid now. You're gonna give me a federal license, which is actually, I guess that's why we had to suffer through Kevin Polack, just to he could excuse to get a federal license.
And to be fair, they're not doing Kevin Polack any justice. They're making him look like a friggin' dweeb.
Yeah.
Suffering through him is you're right.
Well, it's the thing though. He's never been a heavy type, no matter what he's in. He's always come off as the dweeb.
Yep.
He's the guy that gets cheated on. His wife gets another guy. It's like he's not that impressive. He's not a reacher type, or even like a heavy like these two in front of us on our screen right now. But so because of this, well, Dunmire is pissed off because now he has lost distribution because they decided to drop them, and Cole learns this, tells his dad. His dad has a little like hissy fit and takes the axe and starts hitting his little moonshine cooker, and he holds the axe blade up to Cole's neck. And then Cole's at this point he's like, dude, he's don't care. You gonna kill me or not kill me? Cole's nutting up at that moment, which I kind of liked. Or he's
Cole. Look, Cole seemed like a country boy hick that was just jacked as fuck. He's starting to warm to me over the past episodes.
Yeah.
I thought him standing there, I thought was good acting. I am so fucking pissed about what they've done with Dunmire here, going from being a smart guy that might just be right in his own way and all this stuff, then kind of being a prick and being smart to getting arrested and this and that. What a huge drop off. I'm very disappointed in what they've done here. It's awful.
Here's the thing. I'm not shocked. We saw what happened to Chicky. We saw what happened to
the
other guy. So it's just that it's they're never gonna have a strong villain type, and I've come to terms with that. It's the third season. That's what they want to do. The only person they had a real shot of actually an actual threat to Dwight was Chicky, because he was unstable. But yeah, that's pretty much.
Quiet Ray was good in here, yelling at him and all that, kind of getting pissy. I give Quiet Ray props for seeming like a strong person. Hey, but you can't get anybody to do what the fuck you want, Quiet Ray. So you can act like an angry old man, but if nobody's listening to you, you're scared of you. It's somehow, some way, it doesn't work.
So Dwight offers basically, hey, it's like tells Samuel Jackson's character, hey, why don't you come to my place over for dinner? Eventually he does come over there unannounced. Bigfoot's outside with a gun, and watching, and Dwight's in there doing a puzzle because through word on the street, and Mitch got back to him, told him, hey, there's someone staying at this apartment here, and of course, so when Dwight's doing his little puzzle gun there, and there's a knock on the doorbell, and it's basically it's Samuel Jackson, and he said that's twice. It's like you decided not to kill me. That shows you being a man, not being a coward. And he's like, hey, word on the street. Oh, my guy said there's a guy, over at this hotel over here. And he's like, of course, so those two go in there, they think they're gonna take out Quiet Ray's men because they're from New York. And I love it. They're all dressed in black. They're in the Escalade, and they're arguing over where to park and where to do stuff. Like two old guys who basically kind of like are just too stubborn.
Grumpy old men.
Yeah, grumpy old men. And they're deciding, okay, well, he's like, so basically, Samuel Jackson, who had basically told Quiet Ray pretty much politely to shove off the last time he called him. So he sent two goons, to his so basically surrounding his room because he's in 209, and then they're wondering because they're going to which room is going to be in, and Dwight's gonna be like, it's gonna be 209, and then they find out son of bitches another guy in 211. He's like, there, you sandwiched in there, you would have been dead. So they decided to go in there and just take out both guys, kill them. And I love the little speech because the title is called Dead Weight, and he tells before they go in there, he's like, hey, we gotta be careful about this because when you kill a guy, that guy, the motherfucker turns into dead weight, 2,000 pounds. Ain't no you're gonna lift that like you see in the movies.
Throw your back out, I think.
Yep, yeah, throw your back out, yeah. And at the end, the cops show up there after they already left, and they're bringing the bodies out of there, and then you see Vincent, and he's like, son of a bitch, So Vincent was there. So he's gonna come into play in the next week's episode of the season finale. Then we also have another thing. We had with before we get to the Dunmire situation, we got to talk about Tyson. Tyson his money came in from the drugs he sold, ecstasy sold, with Stallone's daughter Scarlet, and basically he pays off Bodie, and he's like, hey Bodie, I need a supply and stuff, He's like, Bodie's like, I don't do that shit anymore. And finally Bodie caves and says, here, but you're not dealing in here in the club or stuff. I don't want to be blown back at me. So he decides to go. He gets a supply of ecstasy, and they bring all the people. They saw land in the last episode when they're disputing, and they go to this club. And of course, they get spotted by security and the club owner. And so they get kicked out. And this guy is kind of mysterious up there. He was the owner. I'm wondering if he's gonna be involved.
Yeah, he seemed like he was more than just this person. The way they lingered on him, right?
And and he's one. And they said, like, what? And I love how Tyson says this. He's like, hey, the security guy. He's like, you can't tell me we're the only ones who ever dealt you before. He's like, of course not. But you're not allowed to here.
That I think is going to be the next race group coming in.
Yeah,
because those guys look like they were from the islands, but he's not. I can't tell if he's. He didn't look Indian, but he looked not Pakistani, but he looked Arabic.
I wouldn't be surprised if the cartel gets involved.
That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if this is a way of introducing, because our focus from the very beginning. Thank you for putting Samuel Jackson at the very beginning of the episode and dominating this episode. But I think that's a nice distraction. It would be a good time to do it.
Yeah, because definitely there's other people who deal in the club, but they're not. But these aren't people that are part of that gang. Only certain people are allowed to deal drugs in this club. That's what the impression I got. So they get thrown out, and so that's going on with that. And then of course it ends with the basically we see I want to point out Grace has been trying to cozy up to Dwight's sister, and even dressing like her, and her hairstyle is similar to her too. You notice that? The cut, the short hair.
Well, she seems to have a different look sometimes when you see her, and other than a tattoo on her neck, I don't read much into it. But I can see that now that you're saying it. I was like, let's go, girlfriend. I'm going to show you how to read a spreadsheet and help me embezzle, which I thought was funny.
Because Grace wants to know, she wants to learn more. She wants to learn how to run the business here. She already knows how to run the weed shop. She's already a manager there. She's very ambitious. She's one of the characters I never thought that would have, from the meek little girl who's afraid of everything to this strong, independent woman who is basically taking on more and more responsibility. So she's probably the most improved character on the show.
But they don't give her anything, and she doesn't. No. She's not headlining an episode.
No,
it was almost like they were teasing her and Bodie, right? And remember when they had the first big time shootout to eliminate a bunch of people, which is what I predicted would be happening.
Yeah, and she had a gun too.
She's a crack shot. Like she grew up, like I don't know if she grew up on the farm or whatever, just something. So I thought we'd see more of that rather than the corporate side, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing now. So
no, not complaint. She's got a funky energy, which is good.
Yeah. So at the end, we got basically Dwight's sister at the very end. So she's at the warehouse working on her book still. Someone walks into the warehouse. It's empty. No one's to be there, and her not knowing what's going on, but she grabs her gun. But then she does something stupid. This is one thing I've never understood. I'm gonna grab my gun because in case it might be someone breaking in that's not Dwight. But then I want to go yell, "Hey, Dwight!" And I'm thinking you shouldn't have said anything. Wait in your office, see what it is, and then you can camp.
Wait. Let me see if I've got the scene correct, because I'm going to write this right now live for all the Extreme Movie Show audience members here. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hello? Is anyone there? I mean, come on. It was so bad.
Yeah, and of course she gets a gun to her head. Mr. Dunmire wants to speak with you.
Dunmire wants to talk with you. Yeah.
So he's gonna basically hold her hostage, and I was wondering if she was gonna get whacked, because I would have turned Dunmire all around if she gets whacked by Dunmire. That means that Dunmire is actually more of a threat than we thought he was. Now that he's unstable. Remember Chicky was a little bit more better when he was unstable, but right. Dunmire has been
somebody.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, Chicky killed his own father. What is Dunmire? Nothing. He's just hired people to do his work.
Yeah.
He's a pussy. Yeah. But overall, Samuel Jackson was a fresh breath of air in this. This whole entire show has been kind of stale this season. But last episode I did like, but it was very kind of like almost fillery in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the explosion was nice. Let's distract people with a nice giant explosion. Scenery. Said the Samuel Jackson does chuckling and hanging out with an old friend, White Man Freddy. Those two, Savone. Just you can see there's a natural charisma between the two of them.
Yeah.
We also learned in the episode that when they're asking who this guy is, he said, "Well, this is I saved his life 20 years ago in the prison." You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's yeah. So now that he's saved Dwight's life, Dwight or spared his life twice, I wonder if Dwight will repay the favor for him. And maybe Dwight will take out Vincent or Sugar Ray. Because either way, they both have a common enemy now. Not Sugar Ray. Sweet Ray. No, it's not
Kill
that.
Sugar
It's
Ray
Quiet
and
Ray.
Quiet Ray.
It's shut the fuck up, Ray. Because I'm sick of this guy. He comes up as a heavy, and he's another guy. I'm gonna hire people to do my work for me. How about Ray? How about you get off your ass and go do it? You know.
Mm-hmm.
The only way mobsters get things done is by doing things themselves. They say it all the time because they can't find good help these days.
There's a scene in here that illustrates exactly what Tulsa King's all about, for better for worse. And yeah, they're sitting there talking or whatever, but where his girlfriend comes up and he's like, "Hey, you know, out of nowhere, we're like that." She's like, "I'm sorry, I have to cancel dinner tonight. Cal Thresher's got a fraternal order of police thing." It's like, "Okay, that sounds like a good thing."
Yeah.
She's like, "Wow, I'm surprised you said it." I was like, "Yeah, well, you know, cops, guns, safety. We just had an explosion. That might be kind of good for my girlfriend." She's like, "Oh, well, I've just never heard you say that." That made me go, normally a woman feels complimented or gets weirded out when you use words, but obviously she's old enough where that should be a thing.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, here's the thing. I don't think they're going to have her and Cal become an item, because you know what? Her and Cal together makes sense.
Yeah.
Her right now doesn't make sense to anything she's doing, and it's not a knock on her. It's the way that she's written. So she's like, "All right." He's like, "All right, I'll see you later. All right, bye." No kissy, no nothing. I'm like, okay, that's not how even adult couples, like, even if they're not smoochy in public. But also, too, it was just a throwaway line about, well, we just had explosion, all that. We didn't get any previously on Tulsa King, or the very first scene was talking about what was going on in some aftermath of it. So it's like this whole big thing they've been building up for several episodes with the watchmaker and planning all that, and then the big thing, it's gone, and it doesn't mean anything. And that's what I don't like about the show. We started off the season with this great idea and concept of the local idea of maybe two families fighting over something. Maybe they'd work together, and the answer is the booze and who really owns it and how it created. And they've let that die. It's, hey, I got a federal license now. I can sell the stuff and make a lot of money. And by the way, I forgot the 30-second scene with hunky guy laying on his couch grabbing his gun the wrong way when Hot Blonde shows up. Zero chemistry couple. Stuff like that just doesn't work.
So, and that's the thing. We're spoiled by shows like Sons of Anarchy, where people are being bumped off, justified. There's real consequences. People are being killed. There's no one being killed in this, except for nobody, low-level hoods, or that we don't know the name of, and they're not supposed to. Like, there's no ultimate setback. Now, if his sister gets killed by Dunmire and sends a message to him, like, "Here's your sister's head in a box. What's in the box?" That would make the show.
Great if you got a president and it said Montauk Distillery. Wait, this is my brand, and he opens it up and it's her head. Oh, that would be incredible.
Or it's her finger, whatever.
Something, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing. We got to keep remembering. This is a comedy show. This isn't an FX show.
True.
You're not going to get that. This isn't The Old Man. The Old Man had much more higher consequences, than this show does. This show is basically laid back. We're laughing, we're have fun, gangsters, idiots, This is kind of like
slapstick almost.
It is very much slapstick, and that's what Stallone wants too in this show too. I'm trying to think of what was that movie with Robert De Niro and a few other guys. I think Samuel Jackson was in it too. They were a bunch of old retired guys. Or was it maybe it was Morgan Freeman? They all went to they're a bunch of four friends are old and went down to Vegas.
Oh, I don't even remember. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it seems like that. Like, it's basically a bunch of old guys, who basically are reminiscing, have fun, and then maybe get some trouble, and just realizing that there's nothing wrong with being old. That's what this whole show has felt like to me. It's kind of felt like that. Like, it's not you're not supposed to take it serious. If you take it serious, you're watching the wrong show. This isn't it's not The Wire. It's not The Shield.
Seasons in, I'm still getting a little disjointed, because I thought this season was the greatest example of what the liquor represents in the two brands. And that's family legacy. And he even has the big speech about pulling everybody together, but you don't believe he's had it now and you've forgotten about it. So nothing that was big in the moment is big later.
Yeah, you want a Hatfield and McCoy, or it's called Hateful or Hatful. Yeah, you want
Hatfields. Yeah,
you want to have some actual stake. You want to see, all right, well, my you killed my son, or you killed, you did this, so I'm gonna kill your girlfriend, or I'm gonna kill your best friend. I mean, I don't want to see anybody whacked, but but at the same time, I kind of do at this point. It's like there needs to be some serious consequences, and yeah.
Well, if I look at this picture here, though, the background that you've got here, them having a drink here, that's kind of a nice shot. It's amazing to think Samuel Jackson's like around 75 or so, and I think Stallone's around 80. That these two guys can have natural chemistry in there, and you don't think of them as old men. You go, yeah, they're older, but you don't think, oh my God, they're like past their prime.
Stallone doesn't look 80 though, because he's so freaking jacked still.
That's the thing.
Yeah. He takes care of his body. When we think of an 80-year-old man, we think of like a George Burns.
No, he was in his 90s when you saw him smoking cigars.
I know, but I mean, that's just the frailty. A really old man, he can barely move. He's in a walker, or they're in a wheelchair, and they're in a ventilator, thing like that. We think of that most because that's when we were growing up in the 90s. That's when we saw people like that,
Yeah, waiting to die, basically.
These are people we grew up. They were and they're young, and now they're old. All the old people we saw in the older movies, like I said, never looked like Stallone or acted like Samuel Jackson's character here.
The only thing I'll say negative about Samuel Jackson is he has a slight New Orleans accent, which is not the same thing as Southern, because there's different accents for different parts. So it's like North Carolina's Southern accent's a little different than Alabama, a little bit different than. And there's some similarities and all that. The accent's different than the way you speak, but he slipped in and out of a little bit, and I'm like,
hey, baby, yep.
Yeah, what are you going to be there, bro? I mean, come on, because he's going to be the guy doing the spinoff show.
So he's going to be in there, and you're going to see that he's going to keep the same accent he has now. It's just that he was just doing that, because hey, relax, you're goofing off, New Orleans stuff. So I guarantee he's going to keep the same voice he has. I don't think he's going to change his dialect whatsoever. Now, if he starts seeing old friends, he might get in. Hey, what's up? Maybe go Kofi Kingston, go into fake Jamaican. I don't know, but
it's almost that bad.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm curious to see because he's a former hitman, and now unless Quiet Ray gets whacked, I think Quiet Ray becomes his villain on his show. Or someone.
I don't know how to take it because you just who does Quiet Ray have now to do anything? Nobody.
He's got Vincent there. Vincent's gonna pull a job off.
Yeah. You scared of Vincent? Vincent could pull a gun in my face and I'd laugh at him. You know what I'm saying?
I always laugh when I looked at Vincent's his IMDb page. And then an actor's actual name is Vincent.
Oh, really?
it's his real name. I was like, wow, it's Vincent Piazza.
Vincent, you're gonna play a role. Well, what am I gonna be? You're gonna be this kind of wimpy ass pseudo hitman. Well, what's my name? It's gonna be Vincent.
Yeah, his real name is Vincent Piazza.
Yeah. Look, the tone of the show of this episode is really nice. I get very frustrated how nothing seems to matter, and each episode seems to be an episode on its own. Yep. I thought, and again, the show. I can't give the show credit for planting seeds that my brain likes to fill out and I never get, because what I get in my head's better than what they give me on the show. And that's the negative big thing I'm saying. Like you had mentioned the scene where they're pushing another batch of ecstasy. They convinced Bodie to cook for them, right? And so they're in a club and Stallone's daughter's looking really leggy and Tyson's there and all that, and they get kicked out. And I thought maybe they're planting seeds here for something later. And I just said, Rob, don't fall into this trap, because the show's consistently, I'm not going to say overpromised, but they've definitely underdelivered when it comes to what they could be doing. Not that what they're doing is not bad or enjoyable, because I still liked the episode. I thought it was good, but a lot has to do with the individual chemistry rather than the prowess of the writing team and all that. And you can take people that you don't know that don't have charisma, have a really well-written show, and you can kind of find yourself getting into it if things are done well. This is not that kind of show. I do agree with you on that. It really relies on their heavyweight stars to carry it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
everybody else adds nothing, really. They're just filler.
It's not as bad as that movie with with Robert. Was it Robert De Niro plays the grandpa, and he had Aubrey Plaza, and I think it was
that was
like,
a fun movie.
yeah. I was just saying, but that was not a serious movie though.
Right,
That
but
was
you knew that from the beginning.
yeah.
And people like Aubrey Plaza were very consistent through the rest of it. It just wasn't
Yeah.
the first scene where Aubrey meets him and gets all hot for him, right?
This
They
has
actually end up as a couple together in Prego. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's
This,
Aubrey Plaza, but that was her coming to Jesus moment with everybody. Like, I don't know this crazy energy this chick has, but I like it.
yeah. So this is very much from the very first season. You had a whole different outtake on as far as this show. But then you get in the second season, they went in more like a comedy, relaxed stuff.
Yes.
And unfortunately, a lot of shows don't really do well when they change the whole outlook of their whole entire show style. And I'm wondering if they did that because the ratings were dipping, and they decided that let's try something new. And I don't know if the ratings have gone up for this. I do see a lot of people who are basically talking about how some of these shows are not as good as the first season, and they're right. So I don't know how long this series will go. I'm thinking like 5 seasons, maybe 4, maybe. I don't think 4 will be the final season. I think 5 or 6. That's I think it's gonna get canceled without what them being left on a cliffhanger. That's my thing, because that's the way the shows used to go now.
Well, sometimes they can know it and write them and say, hey, basically, we might give you 2 seasons, write it.
Well, I mean, you got places like Sci-Fi Channel where basically, we'll green for 5 in the middle of at the end during the last season. Yeah, we're not doing 5 now. So you're like scrambling to write an ending. Look at Bosch Legacy. Told them one thing and then told them another thing, so they didn't have a chance to even do a proper send off. They just they're forced to promote the freaking new show with Ballard as the final episode. A lot of people are still pissed off of that because we wanted. It was like we don't want Ballard. We want Bosch. Bosch built this. Ballard is a
Maggie Q.
Maggie Q.
Maggie Q is always given a show.
Yep. But all right though. But I'll just say this. Well, I'll just real quick on Ballard. Ballard show actually was surprisingly good, but that was nowhere near the Bosch quality. And I
like Maggie Q. I just not buying it because it's Maggie Q. Doing all that spy stuff.
Well, she did Relic Hunter, bro. I believe it.
She's done a lot, actually.
But as far as this show, the final, do you have any predictions for the final episode?
Well, I think we were talking last week about how many people need to die in an episode, and we got the 2 thugs that got hired that were nobody, so they don't count to me. But I mean, of the main cast who dies, you've got to have at least one person from his crew.
It's me, his sister, and then Maggie
will do it,
and then Maggie Grace takes over.
And who's gonna die? I'm starting to think Dunmire's not gonna die.
I think Dunmire kills his sister, and then Grace takes over as leading it. Well, there's also one thing. Cleo showed up.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, when she heard of what happened to Mitch, she's like, oh, I tried to stay away, but then I heard about the explosion. It says like, I didn't want to. I was afraid you can get hurt, but I realized that you can get hurt whether I'm here or not. So she decided she wants to be with him now.
Cleo, just die, please. Both you 2 can go die. I'm tired of him. I really am. I know Tyson's infuriating, but when he walked into Bodie's office, he did that little kind of shimmy thing there. Yeah. Like, okay, you won me over for this episode being that kind of way, and him getting into stupid shit with other people. It's kind of funny to watch. But this whole bullshit with this romance angle is crap. It's horrible. Remember, she's the legacy, and she doesn't give a shit about it. Get the fuck out of here, writing team.
Well, she doesn't want to get killed.
Well, say that when you're driving donuts on somebody's lawn. She has a death wish. She is a bad girl.
At first she did, yes, because she was
not
like
a baddie.
Yeah, she's just spiraling out. But now she's come to realize that, hey, it's like she actually has more to lose than just her life. But anyway,
I hate to say it. I think only how many people are going to die?
I think I'm calling it. I'm saying Dwight's sister is the only one who's going to die next episode.
So you think only
and I think Dunmire will die too.
So I'll take
and Cole will die by Dunmire's hand. We're trying to protect somebody.
That would be so wrong. Well, the way
Well,
they do it could be good. No, but here's the thing. I'm only questioning how many people are going to die now because at least we got shootout where a lot of people died. Here it's like, okay, you're saying 2 people. Okay, I'll take the one. We'll see what happens. I have no
only
idea.
Jimmy's died so far,
But I mean, in this next episode.
and supposedly Armand. I'm telling you, Armand's alive because Kevin Polack got screwed over by Dwight. He's got
where's the guy caught by the FBI? You know that means this shit with Kevin Pollak's going to
Bill?
lag on.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yes.
God. One episode to go right now. We should be chomping at the bit going, man, this is what happened. I can't wait till the next episode when it's finished. And we don't even have that. That's disappointing. I'm talking myself into saying this episode was as good as I thought. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Season 3, episode 9, Tulsa King, Dead Weight. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We'll be talking about it next week live here on Extreme Movie Show. So for RDV and everybody else involved, good night now. And
this Sunday will be Landman episode 1, season 2. Just dropped yesterday, so we're going to review that on Sunday.
7 p.m. Eastern. Check it.
All right, guys. So you guys know the drill. Leave a comment down below and let us know what you thought of this episode. And click the like button, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And we'll see you on Sunday. Later, guys.